Welcome to Faith in 5, a weekly video devotional designed to discuss practical spiritual concepts in 5 minutes or less. I'm your host, Mark Vandella. This spring, I saw a lot of families posting on Facebook about how they were growing caterpillars into butterflies. It became this big trend as everybody was trying to keep their kids entertained and do fun family projects. And I was talking to my friend Amy about it, and she said, yeah, I saw some friends that they went out and they did it the real way. They went out and caught caterpillars and then grew them into butterflies in their home. She was like, man, we're lame. We just went out and spent a lot of money and bought a kit. And she said, honestly, it was fun while we watched them start to change. But the moment of caterpillar to cocoon to butterfly, it just kind of happened. One day they were hatched, and we really expected more. So she said, not only was it this long lead up, it was kind of disappointing. And now I think it's cool to have kids experience that, and there's tons of analogies that we've used around this butterfly concept, right? It is a great analogy, although sometimes cheesy, of something limited becoming beautifully limitless. And we're in the second week of our series on Hannah Bretcher's book called Come Matter Here, where we're really examining what does it look like to have a meaningful existence, and how do we live that out? How can we be more intentional about engaging our faith in that process? And in that book, I learned something new. Hannah actually talks about this process of a caterpillar becoming a butterfly, and she said she learned that there's this thing called a diapause, and that some caterpillars actually decide not to go through with it. So this is the spring, I'm finally gonna get my wings. And then they're like, no, I know it's cool. I know it's everything that I'm preparing for, but I'm not quite ready for that. I'm going to wait until next spring. And she says that's kind of how a lot of us live life, because although the becoming a butterfly is something that's limitless and beautiful and something we're designed to become, right? The caterpillar's designed to become. She says some of us, we're afraid of it, even though it's better for us or it's what we're meant to become. We face these fears, or we face these insecurities, or maybe I'm not ready, or maybe I'm not good enough. And so this week, as we look at what does it look like for us to build this, we're trying to build from last week when we talked about really sitting and being with God in the here and now. How do we establish this relationship in a place where we can really reflect on our things of gratitude, the true meaning and value of that we have, that God tells us, those promises. And we didn't talk about just doing it once. We talked about doing it in rhythm, so that as we make decisions in life, they're more connected to this value, which is part of living out a meaningful existence. But what we're talking about today is really how can we build this future not out of fear and insecurities. Hannah tells a story about how she was meeting with a friend, and she had some big life decisions to make. And her friend said, all you've kind of talked about is the fears of what if you don't, or if you do, what if you fail? And she said, I really think you have a tendency to build your life out of fear. And she challenged Hannah, and she said, what if you built your life out of love instead? Right? If we spend time with God, we can rest on those values and build out of value instead of running from something in the past or chasing some sort of overcoming inadequacy that we have. What if we were to build out of love and value rather than out of fear and insecurities? And I've been reading a couple of books in the Bible that I don't typically spend much time in. I'm usually kind of a gospel guy. But I've been reading the book of Lamentations recently. So this is probably the first time ever I've referenced Lamentations in a Faith in 5 video. But Lamentations 3:19 through 24 really resonated with me when it comes to this meaningful existence. The author says, I'll never forget the trouble, the utter lostness that I've felt. I've tasted the ashes. I've been at the bottom. I know what rock bottom feels like, and I cannot forget that. But then the author goes on to say, but there's one thing that I also always remember, and remembering keeps a grip on hope for me. God's loyal love could never run out. His merciful love could never dry up. It's created new every morning. How great is God's faithfulness? I'm sticking with God. He's all I got. And so this concept of what if we built our future and our meaning and our value, and the measuring stick that we measure our life by isn't based on whether or not we can measure up. What if we don't achieve? What if we disappoint God? Or what if we get stuck in all the stuff in our past? Hannah's friend was right, and the author of Lamentations is right. God's love is the true north. And what if we spent some time in our lives evaluating that value and then setting that out in front of us and chasing that? Let's build our future out of love instead of fear and insecurity. And if we do so, I would imagine, based on what the Bible tells us and what we experience in our lives being connected to God, our lives will have more meaning. We'll experience deeper meaning. And so this week, as you live out your life, obviously continue to spend time with God in rhythm, but build your future, chase the future, not out of inadequacy. Do so out of a place of deep love and mercy that God provides for us. This week, go build a life on love. Thanks for watching Faith in 5. If you like what you see, please like and share. If you're interested in making a donation to our ministry, please click the link below.